Hi everyone, in Algebra 2B, today we're going to be going over your questions on lesson 114A, starting on number 1. So number 1, it says find 3 consecutive even integers such that the product of the first and the third exceeds the product of the second and 8 by 16. So 3 consecutive even integers, we're going to use the variables n plus 2, and then n plus 4. It says that we are going to take the product of the first and the third. So that would be n times n plus 4. And it exceeds the product of the second and 8. So 8 times n plus 2. It exceeds that product by 16. Now I have to multiply this through. So that would be n squared plus 4n equals 8n plus 16 plus 16. Now if I bring that all over to the left-hand side, that's going to be n squared minus 4n minus 32 equals 0. Because when I bring the 8n to the left, it becomes negative. That does factor evenly into n minus 8, times n plus 4, meaning I have two answers for n. The first one's going to be negative 4. The second one's going to be positive 8. So the consecutive negative integers after negative 4 would be negative 2 and 0. After 8 would be 10 and 12. So I should have two sets of consecutive even integers. Now moving on to number 2. The druggist began with 240 milliliters of a 20% antiseptic solution. How much pure antiseptic should be added to get a solution that's 52% antiseptic? So we're going to be adding on this one. So we have the first solution. We're adding pure antiseptic. So the first one is going to be 20%. That's what we're starting with. And we have 240 milliliters of that. And we are going to be adding pure antiseptic, so that'll be 100%, and we are adding X amount of that to end up with a solution that's 52%, and we would have 240 plus X of that. So now I'm gonna create my equation, so that'd be 20 times 240 plus 100x equals 52 times 240 plus x. So it's all one equation, but one pretty long equation. So if you want to watch, that would be 20 times 240 would be 4,800 plus 100x equals 52 times 240, which would be 12,480 plus 52x. So now if I move the 52x, it becomes negative. Move the 4,800, and you're gonna get 48x is equal to 12,480 minus 4,800 is 7,680. And then you just have to divide that by 48. And that would give you X is equal to 160 milliliters. Now moving on to the next word problem. Number 3, we have the long trip was 4,800 miles, and for this trip, Ken used fast transportation, which took 1 hour more than the slow conveyance took to cover 2,000 miles. Find the rates and times of both methods of transportation. All right, so we're gonna do the distance of the long trip is 4,800. The distance of the short trip would be 2,000. It says for the long trip, took 1 hour more than the slower trip. So the time of the longer would be the time of the slower plus 1. Find the rates and times of both if the faster moved at twice the speed of the slower. So the rate of the longer would be twice as fast as the rate of the slower. So now distance equals rate times time. So I would have RL TL equals 4,800. I'm going to plug this in, so that would be 2RS times TS plus 1 equals 4,800. From this equation, I get RSTS equals 2,000. If I distribute, I get 2 RSTS plus 2RS equals 4,800. And I know that RSTS is equal to 2,000, so I'm going to plug that in. So that would be 2 times 2,000 plus 2RS equals 4,800. Move the 4,000. We give you 2RS is equal to 800, which means the rate of the slower would be equal to 400. If the rate of the slower is 400, I can solve for the time. So it would be RSTS equals 2,000. So that means TS is going to be equal to 5. Now I'm going to solve for RL, because RL is equal to 2 times RS, which means RL is going to be equal to 800. And then lastly, solving for TL, because TL is equal to TS plus 1. So 5 plus 1, which means TL is equal to 6. And that would be your result for number 3. Now looking at your next word problem, number 4. The current in the river flowed at 4 miles per hour. The steamboat could go 34 miles downstream in 1/3 the time it took to go 54 miles upstream. What was the speed of the boat in still water? Okay, so for number 4, I have the current was at 4 miles per hour, so W equals 4. Says the distance downstream was equal to 34. The distance up was equal to 54. Now it talks about the time. It says it could go downstream in 1/3 the time. So the time down was 1/3 the time up. But I don't like to deal with fractions, so I would multiply this whole thing by 3. Giving me TU is equal to 3TD. Okay, so all I did was multiply the whole thing by 3. Now I have a downstream equation, which will be B plus W times TD equals DD. My B, I don't know, so it's going to be B plus 4 times TD equals 34. Distribute B TD plus 4 TD equals 34. Now I'm going to deal with my upstream equation, which would be B minus W times TU equals DU. Now my B I don't know, but my W is 5. Nope, it's 4. TU is going to be 3 TD equals 54. Now distribute, so you get 3 BTD minus 12 TD equals 54. You can do substitution or elimination. I would probably do elimination, so I'm going to multiply this equation by -3, which would give me -3 BTD minus 12 TD equals 34 times 3, should be 102, -102. So that'd be -24 TD equals -102 plus 54, so that'd be -48, which means that TD is equal to 2. So now to solve for B, I'm going to take that and I'm going to plug it in to here. So that'd be B times 2 plus 4 times 2 equals 34. So if I subtract 8, I would get 2B equals 26. So therefore B is equal to 13. That would be the speed of the boat would be equal to 13. Now the last word problem we're going to look at is number 5. It says the sum of the digits of a 2-digit counting number was 8. If the digits were reversed, the new number would be 54 greater than the original number. What was the original number? So number 5 would be t plus u equals 8. It says when the digits are reversed, so that would be 10u plus t equals the original number, so 10t plus u, but it says 54 greater than that, so it'd be plus 54. Now what I would do is move the u over, move the t over, so you should end up with -9t plus 9u is equal to 54. I'm going to do elimination by multiplying this equation by 9, which would be positive 9t plus 9u equals 72. So our t's would cancel. I'd have 18u is equal to 126. And 126 divided by 18 is 7. So if u is 7, and has to add up to 8, that means t is equal to 1. So if your tens digit is 1 and your units digit is 7, your answer would be 17. Now lastly, we're going to look at number 14. What I'm going to do first is set this equal to 0, and remember that integers are points, not going to be a dot with an arrow. So this would be x squared plus 3x minus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. Now when I factor that, that's going to be x plus 4, x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Now for the positive, I'm going to set x plus 4 greater than or equal to 0, and then x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. So that means x would be greater than or equal to -4, and x is greater than or equal to 1. Now this one here is a negative, and we're looking for the positive, more positive number. So we're going to graph x is greater than or equal to 1. Then for the negative, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to flip the inequality. It's going to be x plus 4 is less than or equal to 0, and x minus 1 is less than or equal to 0, which would give me x is less than or equal to -4, and x is less than or equal to 1. So again, the more negative number would be this one, so we're going to graph this one, not this one. So now on my number line, I would start with -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So there's your number line. My two endpoints are going to be -4 and 1, and those are both going to be filled in. And it says x is greater than 1, which means that it's going to go to the right. But again, it's integers, so you're going to fill in those points to the right. And when it's less than -4, that's going to go to the left of -4. So I'm going to fill in the points to the left of -4, which should be -5, -6, and everything beyond that. So that should conclude all of your questions from lesson 114A. I hope you guys all have a great day. Bye.